Something very interesting happened today in Nairobi. Immediately, the military made its way to the CBD. Instead of running battles between them and the protesters embraced them, and the military had no problems with that. In fact, even the protesters were escorting the military as they sang, "RUTO must go." So the protesters were escorting the military, singing "RUTO must go." That's very interesting. It appears William Ruto's game plans here are failing. And that brings us to the big question: why did William Ruto unleash the military on innocent, peaceful demonstrators? The answer is very straight. Ruto felt the police were not ruthless enough on the demonstrators. So he thought the military was going to be more ruthless than the police. That's why he unleashed them on the innocent demonstrators. Instead of the military becoming more ruthless than the police, they embraced the demonstrators, and it was all a cordial kind of a working relationship. I want us to dig deep into this for Kenyans to understand what that means. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give the video a like. Let's proceed. If you look at countries that have had successful revolutions, it's either the military comes in to bring sanity or the leaders of those countries run away. Just as we did see in Sri Lanka, where the people raided the palace and the then president of Sri Lanka had to run away. And in most occasions, we have even seen the military toppling such leaders. Kenya's demonstrators cheerfully escorting the army through the CBD in the country's capital city can signal something that might happen. I'm not saying it will go that way, but it might be something that might happen maybe in the future. Ruto's game plan there failed. Instead of the military being brutal with the demonstrators, they were very friendly and very understanding as compared to the police, who have been very brutal against Kenya's peaceful demonstrators. So from where I sit, I don't think William Ruto is a happy man tonight, seeing Kenyans escorting the military as Kenyans chant, "Ruto must go." He is a troubled man tonight. And then secondly, I strongly believe the military wanted to send a message to Ruto's government and to the Kenyan police that if you be friendly with these demonstrators, there will be no problem. And I'm saying that because nobody lost his life today in Nairobi, and more so in the CBD. There was no looting today in Nairobi. Even though there were running battles, nobody was killed, no shop was broken into. And I attribute that to the maturity of the army. Even though Ruto made a mistake in unleashing them, because that's not what the law says, they showed leadership. And I only wish and expect that going forward, the police should emulate the army. That's what the police should emulate. Let the police be friendly. Kenyans are not their enemies. Our constitution gives us the right to protest, to picket, and Kenyans have been exercising those rights very peacefully. It's only when the police comes, that's when trouble starts. So our police service should go back to the training schools. They are clearly missing it. And something tells me very strongly that they are missing it because they have allowed themselves to be controlled by politicians. The police should act professionally and they should be neutral. They should not take political sides. Our Kenyan police service is taking political sides. And that's why some months ago, we saw some top police officers, I think DCI in Kisii, top DCI officers, there was a leaked audio where they were planning to frame Kisii Governor Simba Arati. So you are seeing that the police are being used by politicians to even frame fellow politicians. That's how low our police service had stooped. But today, the military, in my honest opinion, showed the direction. And that also reminds us as to why the police and the military have been having some issues in the past weeks. Yes, some months and weeks back, these two organs were having some issues. From what happened today in Nairobi CBD, you can see clearly where the problem has been coming from. Our police service, they are not behaving maturely. Demonstrating Kenyans are not your enemies. They are your brothers and sisters. In fact, just be friendly with them. As I conclude, in our early analysis a few hours ago, I stated that William Ruto unleashed the army way too early. Army should be the last course of action for any government. But Ruto hurriedly released the army when it's still too early. And that can also explain the character of Ruto. He normally do things without looking at the bigger picture. And that's why I say he's emotional. He acts out of emotions. And to prove that, immediately after Tuesday's demonstrations, Ruto issued a press statement where he described the protesters kama wakora. A day later, he was now trying to broker a truce. What changed overnight? If he believed they were wakora, what changed overnight and now so he wanted to have some dialogue with them again? Ruto normally acts out of emotions, and that can be very dangerous for him and for the country. As a leader in the stature of a president, you should be calm. Take your time to understand issues. Don't just react or behave out of emotions. And I'm seeing a very high possibility where William Ruto is not listening to advice. And I won't be wrong to say he might be the one advising his advisors. Yes. Let me stop it there. But even before I stop, listening to Kenyans across the board, the song is one, RUTO must go. So it's true, the Finance Bill 2024 was just a trigger. Kenyans have so many issues to settle with Ruto. They want him to go. And for William Ruto to regain his legitimacy, let him call for fresh elections. How does he feel when he's a minority president? How does he feel? Let him call for fresh elections. If Kenyans elect him, so be it. But as of now, Ruto is a minority president. And it all boils down to integrity. How does he feel being a minority president? Almost 90% of the country is against him. How does he feel? Even his own backyard of the Kalenjin nation is against him. Everywhere, the country is against him. How does he feel? A minority president. Let me stop it there, ladies and gentlemen. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give the video a like. Any other person watching us outside Kenya for the first time, drop a comment, let us know from which part of the globe you are watching us from. If possible, subscribe, give the video a like. Let's meet in our next analysis.